It didn't feel like just another tech headline. I was sitting in my room, staring at a wall I'd stared at for months. No direction, no drive, nothing. Then the words flashed across my screen. NVIDIA launches H20 GPU in China. At first I almost scrolled past. Just another chip, I thought. But something pulled me back. Something about that name, H20. It wasn't just technical. It sounded diluted, held back, like someone had tried to quiet something powerful. And it hit me. I was the H20. This wasn't just about semiconductors or global policy. This was a reflection of how sometimes we adapt, shrink ourselves, mask our power, just to keep moving in a world full of walls. Why would NVIDIA launch a limited chip for China? What does it say about power, control, and the stories we never tell? And why, in that moment, did I feel like I had just read my own diagnosis? This is not a tech story. This is a human story, disguised as silicon. Let's get one thing straight. The H20 isn't NVIDIA's crown jewel. It's the A100's quieter sibling, a custom design GPU for China that complies with US export restrictions. In simpler terms, a nerfed chip, purposely weakened to get past government sanctions. Why does that matter? Because this chip, slower, stripped down, represents a line between obedience and defiance. In October 2022, the US government banned the export of high-performance chips to China, fearing they'd be used to advance military and AI dominance. NVIDIA responded with a clever workaround, the H20, along with the L20 and L2 versions that barely fly under the radar of what's restricted. To some, it's compliance. To others, it's rebellion. What NVIDIA did wasn't illegal. It was strategic, surgical, like a whisper that says, we're still here, just quieter. But it's more than that. It shows how tech is no longer just tech. It's diplomacy. It's protest. It's survival. Silicon has become the new battlefield, and every transistor carries intent. And somewhere in that geopolitical game, I found something personal. Because how many times do we limit ourselves to be accepted? How often do we present a watered-down version of our potential just to stay in the room? That's what H20 is, not just a chip, but a metaphor, a message, a mirror. At the heart of every restriction is fear. The fear that someone might become too powerful. The fear of losing control. And in the case of NVIDIA and China, this fear turned into policy, politics, and limits placed on innovation. But deep down, this isn't about countries, it's about humans. Every act of control, every sanction, every diluted GPU stems from a desire to protect something, to stay ahead, to preserve identity. And that's when it hit me. I'd been doing the same thing. To myself. For years I kept my voice down, played it safe. I didn't chase ideas that felt too big. I made my dreams smaller, hoping no one would notice or reject me. I lived within artificial limits I didn't even realize were there. I was sanctioning myself. And when I saw NVIDIA create the H20, I saw not just compliance, but resistance, a quiet defiance, a whisper saying, you can limit me, but I'll still move. It reminded me that sometimes rebellion isn't loud. Sometimes it's a softened chip that still computes, a voice that speaks anyway, a dream that chooses to live. We are all H20s in our own ways.